We are the socially responsible, and our campaign goal is to bring awareness to the gender pay gap and the gender inequality issue.
143 out of 195 countries guarantee gender equality. This is the data as of 2014. To our surprise, yet the discrimination against women still persists in many areas, directly or indirect. For example, the Chinese law prohibits women to work underground and above ground jobs of heavy construction because of the fear of exposure to hazardous working environment, thus disempowering them from economic opportunities.
Please meet John and Jane. Both have the same job and work at the same company, an equal company. Jane makes less money than John, 75 cents on the dollar. So she makes 3/4 of John's income for the same amount of time, and unfortunately, it gets worse. Using more realistic figures, John makes $50,000 a year and Jane makes less than $38,000. And suppose each gets 2% raise every year, so at the end of their career the gap more than doubles. But that's not all. They need to save for retirement. Now, imagine each saves 10% of their annual salary, and they can invest it at 6% return. That means John can save about $100,000 more than Jane. Additionally, we know both of them went to college, and the average student loan debt after college is between $20,000 to $30,000. So let's say John and Jane owe $25,000 each. According to the RBC website, current rates on student loans hover around 4%. So at this rate, John will pay his debt in 6 years, but Jane will pay it in 8. Therefore, John can start saving earlier for retirement. But once again, that's not all. Many women left the workforce for about 5 years to take care of their children. And when they re-enter the workforce, they don't usually get the same salary, thus increasing the gap. So, at the end of their working lives, John will make and save more than $600,000.
Gender pay gap in sports is one of the major issues in the present world. For example, the number 1 overall pick in the 2018 Women's NBA draft will make $52,664 compared to $6.8 million in the men's NBA category. The same can be seen in soccer and golf too. So, why this gender pay gap? Other than prize money, some of the factors that affect female athletes' income are: the first factor is media coverage. Media coverage takes forms such as news reports, television programs, and social media articles. It does not only enhance the popularity of athletes but also reveals the commercial nature of sports. For example, in Australia and UK, only 7% of women's sports have media coverage, whereas in US it's a mere 4%. The second factor is endorsement deals. Male athletes earn more due to better sponsorship and endorsement deals. Women's sports receive only 0.4% of total sponsorships in the world. The third factor is lack of women holding governing positions in sports organizations. For example, in Europe, only 14% of decision-making positions in sports organizations are occupied by women.
Now, let's talk about male and female pilots in airline industry. At present, there were only 6% of female pilots in the aviation sector throughout the world. Among them, India tops with 12.4% of female pilots, whereas UK occupies last position with only 4.7% of employed female pilots. In the recent UN meeting, Australian Airlines Qantas raised the issue of gender inequality. It came up with a new initiative named Nancy Bird Walton. The aim of this initiative was to commit of hiring 20% of female pilots in their future pilot intake program. As there were less number of female pilots as a part of their social responsibility, recently America's major airlines Delta also took an initiative. It flew from Salt Lake City to Houston by carrying 120 girls to NASA's space station to encourage more women to enter into a male-dominated field. It is everyone's role to bring change. On a whole, gender equality is a human fight, not a female fight. Say no to gender stereotypes and say yes to equality.
Finally, this is what our team recommends. Homes should foster gender justice in daily life. For example, sharing household chores. Be fair to everyone, so listen and reflect. Everyone should have access to education. Spread awareness to promote gender equality. When we follow these simple rules, everyone benefits because companies grow, the world becomes a better place, nations will develop faster, and societies will move forward.